This is Samuel B. Williams for Equal Ground Headlines. Israel and the Middle East. Israel-Hamas ceasefire. In the Middle East, a fragile truce between Israel and Hamas in Gaza is holding, weeks after a devastating conflict last year. Both sides are now negotiating a potential next phase of the ceasefire. In a significant development, Hamas handed over the coffins of 4 Israeli hostages it had held since the war. Israel on Thursday received the remains of these 4 individuals, confirmed to include members of an Israeli kibbutz community, and in exchange released hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Over 600 Palestinian detainees were slated for release as part of this swap, mediated with regional help. Emotional scenes unfolded as freed Palestinian prisoners arrived to welcomes in Gaza and the West Bank, while Israel began the process of formally identifying the returned remains. The exchange, following an earlier hostage-prisoner swap, is seen as a confidence-building step to extend the ceasefire. However, Israeli officials caution that no formal long-term peace is in place, and sporadic violence could still flare. Indeed, Israel's military remains vigilant. Earlier this week, Israeli warplanes struck what were described as militant sites in southern Syria, an apparent message to Iran-backed groups operating there. These strikes came as Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps commanders renewed threats of a third true promise: direct attack on Israel if Jerusalem targets Iran. The rhetoric is aimed at deterring any Israeli preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear or military facilities. Iran nuclear tensions. Iran's nuclear program is drawing heightened concern. European and Israeli sources report that Tehran has accelerated enrichment of uranium to near weapons-grade levels, amassing a stockpile that could be enough for several nuclear bombs if further purified. The UN's atomic watchdog has verified Iran activating advanced centrifuges, and Western officials say Iran is now enriching uranium at 60%, just a short technical step from the 90% needed. These moves, Tehran insists, are reversible and meant as leverage amid stalled negotiations. But US-Iran tensions are on the rise. Across the Middle East, diplomatic realignments are underway following the Gaza war. Arab states, led by Egypt and Gulf countries, are positioning themselves to guide Gaza's reconstruction and political future, aiming to sideline extremist groups and stabilize the territory. Saudi Arabia has emerged as pivotal in regional diplomacy. From talks on rebuilding Gaza and Syria to brokering quiet understandings in Lebanon. Meanwhile, the US military has been active in Syria, where it's reported to have carried out an unprecedented number of strikes this month against remnants of al-Qaeda-linked groups in the northeast. Washington says these operations are aimed at preventing a resurgence of terror havens. In Iraq, the security situation remains relatively calm, though Iran-aligned militias continue to pose a challenge to US forces stationed there. Oil markets have watched these regional developments closely, but so far remain stable. Notably, global oil prices held onto gains after Trump abruptly canceled a sanctions waiver for Chevron's operations in Venezuela, tightening supply from that country, a decision that drew criticism from Caracas and at another facet to US foreign policy shifts.